Third quarter. Choices. My wife always gets me on this one. Especially when you had a bad day at the office. When we have a bad day, basically, it's not over just on the field. Then you got to go talk to the press. They beat you up, and you're okay with that. You know, but the worst thing I got to go see my wife after the game. Oh, that's bad. That's bad. That is bad. And the problem with my wife is she grew up a defensive person. She likes to see guys tackle and stuff like that. It's kind of interesting. I go down to Tampa with Tony Dungy, good friend of mine, known each other for over 30 years. We're going to try to build a football team. We're going to try to build a defense first in Tampa, all right? So the first game we're playing, we are missing tackle. We are awful. We're 0-5, to be quite honest. We start off 0-5. First game, we are off. We missed tackles. So now it's bad. I'm like, man, and I'm all beat up. The game's over. And I'm like, oh. Go see my wife after the game. She looks at me. She says, aren't you a defensive coach? And I went, yeah, honey. She says, who's teaching these guys how to tackle? She says, that's awful. And I'm going, I can hear from you too. I said, come on, give me a break. But understand this. When things are bad, you chose your profession. It didn't choose you. It didn't choose you. That's what I understand. I chose to be a part of the National Football League. I've been doing this almost 30 years, playing and coaching. I chose this. It did not choose me. I said, this is what I want to do. When you're winning, oh, ain't nothing like it. It is great. It is fun. You enjoy it for about 12 hours. Really, the game's over with. You enjoy winning for about 12 hours. Time you wind down, you get home around 9 o'clock that night, you're already thinking about, oh, boy, we play these other guys next week. This is going to be tough. When you lose, you die for a whole week. Slow death. We chose our profession. You chose your profession. For the good times and the bad times. Understand that. No one's making you come here. If you're doing it for the money and you don't like what you're doing, I always tell players, get out. Get out. Don't do it. Don't do it. When I don't enjoy coaching football anymore, because I can't play anymore, I'm out. I'm done. I'm done. When I get out of my car one morning and I start walking into that office, I go, you know what, I'm really not, I'm done. Enjoy what you do. You chose what you do, what you want to do. Your discipline and commitment must be strong. Not letting the competition, especially, take advantage of it. That's kind of what happens in a game. When you're playing a game, you know, you're starting to play against a player, and all of a sudden he kind of sees, uh-oh, I got him now. I got him talking. That's the great thing about our sport. There's a see, you don't. Eventually, Motorola, I know what they're going to do. They're going to try to mic all the players too, so you can hear all that stuff that goes on the field. Not good. Because there's a lot of things being said on that field that your children shouldn't have to listen to. But when you get a guy, and for me, it was great. I played defensive back. I want to say I could talk pretty good to those receivers. And I want to say by the first quarter, I'm giving this guy the business for about a whole quarter. By the second quarter, I got him in my pocket. He's done. He's not even worried about running that 15-yard out anymore. He's playing against me. I got him. I got him right where I want him. I got him right in my pocket. Don't let the competition get to you. When they get to you, all of a sudden you lose focus on what you're trying to do. Don't lose focus. Keep your focus. That's very, very important. Keep your focus, and don't let your competition take your focus away. Fourth quarter now. This is the big quarter right here. There's that guy now, boys. You really got to, and really, 85% of the games in our league, National Football League, come down to the fourth quarter. Most games are a one-score game going into the fourth quarter, believe it or not. Unless early in the game you turn the ball over a bunch of it. But most games get down to the fourth quarter. If you look at the playoff games, a lot of these games, they're in the fourth quarter. Both teams are still playing pretty good. Something happens. But be relentless. understand your professionalism, your character is revealed in the fourth quarter. That's when the pressure hits. That's when your preparation, your hard work, your ability to keep your poise under pressure. That's probably the most important thing. Don't panic. Do not panic. If you panic, it's over. Keep your poise. As I said, you have 35 seconds to make a decision. In the world we live in, you get 35 seconds. That's all you get. Everybody gets the same. Because that clock, it seems like that clock never stops. It's just going. And you're going, okay, I got to make a decision. I got to call timeout. Don't call timeout. I got to run a nickel team on, get them out. No, I got to do this. You got to make a decision 35 seconds. And what's great about our profession, the decisions you make, you're always looking ahead. Well, here's the problem. When it doesn't work out, I get those friendly people called the media. They sit there with their little, well, why didn't you do this in the second quarter? Well, in the second quarter, I had to do that because they forgot about that. They forgot about that. Understand, keep your poise. Don't make emotional decisions. Here's one. Think about it. Ball's on the 50-yard line. This is always a great one. This is great. The ball's on the 50-yard line. You need about that much for a first down. Fourth and less than one. I know what you guys are saying. Go for it, coach. Go ahead. We go for it. We lose a yard. Boo! Why'd you go for it, coach? You kidding me? That's part of the deal. Don't do things emotionally. Don't do things emotionally. You make emotional decisions, generally you make the bad decision. Now again, as we wind this thing up, opportunity rocks. And this is very, very important, I think. I think sometimes in life, we forget that we all have an ability to have a legacy. And basically, your legacy is what you leave for others to look at and to emulate. And for me, personally, it's your children. It's your children and the organization you work for. That's your legacy. I was told this about my dad. We weren't very wealthy. I knew that, but when you're young, you don't know. You get clothes, you get shoes, you're okay. He told me this. He said, son, he says, we don't live in a big house. Can't afford a new car. He said, but I'm going to give you something better than all that stuff. Don't have a lot of money. I'm going to give you something better than all of that. It's okay. I'm figuring out, what is he going to give me, I wonder? I'm going to give you a good last name. Well, I said, well, that's nice of you. What's that going to get me? Well, as you get a little older, you figure something out. Your last name's your legacy. You give that to your children. Your grandparents, your parents before you gave it to you. He said, I'm giving you a good last name. And he also told me this. Don't screw it up. Well, now all of a sudden, my attention got a little perked up. Because he said, don't screw it up. And when he said that, I went, uh-oh. Now I got problems. I got to make sure I live my life in a manner that does not blemish our last name. I had a son. I gave him the same speech. I got two little daughters. Their names will change eventually when they get married. But right now, their name is Edwards. That's our legacy. There's a lot of things in life you will obtain. A lot of things. But your name was given to you. It's probably a pretty good name, last time I checked. And you can't screw it up. That's hard. Because we make mistakes. But at the end, when they throw the dirt on us, Take nothing with you. Hopefully you got 6 people to carry it. Hopefully. What they gonna say? What will they say about you? What will they say? Your name is Joe, whatever it may be. What are they gonna say? What are your kids gonna say? That's your legacy. The people you work for, what are they gonna say? This person represented the company this way. I know this. I've been in the National Football League for going on 30 years. It's not a right, it's a privilege. I understand that. I represent the National Football League, but I also represent my last name. I'm not screwing that up. I'm not going to screw that up, because that's all I got. At the end of the day, that's all I have. Have nothing else. That's the greatest gift that I was given. It's my last name, and I'm going to protect it. I'm going to make sure I do things right. My words and my life will match up. Is it hard? It's hard. It's hard. But that's your legacy. That's what you leave. That's what your kids are going to get from you. Whether you like it or not, they got your last name. Now, they might want to change it. They might want to be rebellious and say, I'm changing my name and doing all. That's fine. But you give them that. And guess what? The last time I checked, your kids, they can't choose their parents. They can't choose you. Your kids cannot choose their parents. You brought them into the world, you give them your last name. What you do in your life represents your last name, your family's last name. That is your legacy. And everyone can have it, and I think at times we get caught up in our world thinking the athletes, it ain't about the athletes. It's about us as people. We all have the ability to have a legacy and to pass it on to our children and the people that follow us. That's very, very important.